During the October 7th Planning and Zoning meeting, there were three agenda items that were discussing two parcels of land that are kind of split up into three pieces. One of them has a building on it which Encore inhabits right now. They use that building for shipping and receiving materials, which you'll hear a little later in this video. Then there's a second piece, which is 903 East Broad Street. That's the corner there that you see on the left at the corner of Chestnut and Broad. The applicant is wanting to rezone the property there on the right that's surrounded in yellow to light industrial, and then the property there on the left, just right next to it, also to light industrial, and the very left property on the corner that's undeveloped right now to commercial. This brings up a few very important issues with this property. It's currently zoned general retail and has been operating under that for a couple of decades now, as you'll see later in the video. Once you change this zoning from the general retail to light industrial and or commercial, you're going to be stuck with that for who knows how long. It could be forever, however long that owner owns that property. As you can imagine, general retail seems ideal for the downtown area, which is where this sits. Was hoped to be a part of the downtown revitalization part of that area, and it also sits right in the middle of a bunch of homes. So light industrial and commercial isn't the ideal zoning for this little parcel of land. And I'm going to show you some preliminary plans that were presented to the city not long ago for this piece of land right there on the corner of Chestnut and Broad. So just keep that in mind as you watch this video. The other thing to keep in mind, or that I want you to watch, is just how uninformative the applicant tries to be during their presentation. It looked like they might be just trying to get something passed by, and then they're going to do whatever they want with it. The more the questions that are asked by P&Z, the more information they give, but they're not trying to be outward with what they're trying to do with this land. And they even go back and forth with if they have someone planning to go there or not. As you'll see, though, the Planning and Zoning Commission kind of gets to the bottom of it throughout the video here.
I guess the question I would have is, this is on principle that they made this request, or was this something that they felt like always should have been zoned from retail to commercial?
Sure. So for the light industrial requests, the applicant does feel that he originally purchased the property in the 90s when it was zoned light industrial. The zoning was changed in the early 2000s. He was not aware of that change. He states that he did not receive notification of that change. I do not have records from 20 years ago where I can confirm or deny that. But that is part of the reason for the request is he feels he's correcting the zoning back to the light industrial. That's for the following two items. So.
Well, that's awfully convenient. The applicant says they've owned this land for over 20 years. Someone just up and changed the zoning on them shortly after they purchased the land, and they never said anything until now. Yeah, okay. So here's what's actually happening. Is now they have a chance to make some more money off of it, and Encore wants to expand over into the area next to it. So what they want to do is change the zoning over to something they know is not proper for this area because it's part of our downtown and right in the middle of housing. So now they approach the city saying, man, the city really did something over on me back in the day 20 years ago, and they changed the zoning and I was never notified, and I'm just here to correct it. No, you're here to profit at the expense of the city and the residents surrounding that area.
Good evening.
And please state your name.
Yes, Philip Wilson. I'm representing SKW Holdings, the owner of the property.
Is there a plan to do something with the property here eventually? Is there some kind of expansion of the facility?
As far as the first item on the agenda, it's commercial development is what is planned. It's all contingent upon changing that over to that correct zoning request.
Okay. Does he have any particular somebody in mind that has already expressed interest? And
there are some interests, yes, nothing concrete, but again, it's just all contingent upon having that zoning to commercial. Yeah.
As you can see, he's saying as little as possible because he knows it's not favorable to getting it passed. Luckily, Planning and Zoning asked more questions. Watch.
Now, my only question was what's going to be the intended use, which, just thinking the surrounding area, currently some residential and obviously long term, like that to be a retail corridor. I'm just curious what the intent is, and not to jump too far ahead. I mean, the next couple items include existing buildings and at least one existing client. So I'm just curious what the master plan was.
Yeah, that's correct. So the existing tenant is Encore, and they have expressed interest in the adjacent property that's just been recently acquired.
Well, well, well. Now we're getting into it, aren't we?
The property has kind of a unique feature. It does have a rail access to that area, to both properties, and Encore has expressed interest in possibly, maybe needing that for their future business. If this stays general retail in that area as well, that would not be an option, I don't think, for rail access and that type of thing.
Notice how the applicants went from giving very little detail in the way of, oh yeah, there's some interest, but it kind of hinges on the zoning changing to commercial, to now, oh yeah, Encore is actually interested in this area. So much so, in fact, that we've actually had discussions with them about them utilizing the rail spur on this property so they can ship products in and out of this property. The problem is that's going to require trains to stop at that property, and they're going to end up blocking the intersections downtown and causing traffic buildup, which is exactly what the city council has been preaching that they want to improve in the city of Forney.
They are a large employer for the city, and the high-paying jobs and quality jobs. So we want to make sure that stays. Those tenants stay there as well.
I found the use of large employer interesting, so I looked it up. According to the Forney EDC website, Encore employs between 1 and 49 people, as you can see in this graphic.
The facility has been in business as an industrial facility for over 20 years,
right,
closer to 30. And with us being unaware of the zoning change, we just want to make sure we're in compliance and stay, without any conflict and doing business as it's been doing for the past 20, 30 years there. So.
Right.
Oh, okay. Except now you're going to contradict yourself.
We're actually not changing any the second two properties any at all.
Right.
Actually, as early as last year, we have actually received some money from the EDC to improve on the buildings.
Right.
And so, I mean, that's kind of almost an acceptance that we were doing business as a industrial light industrial at that time.
Not almost. That is an acceptance that you are doing business as a light industrial entity, and you can continue to do so without changing the zoning. Notice how nervous he gets here, shifting around, crossing his legs, looking down, fumbling his way through some nonsensical description of what they plan to do on that empty spot.
But as far as the property, the 1 acre property at Chestnut, we're just looking for, commercial construction there of not industrial or not any more fabrication there, but just to stay within the zoning standard for commercial building there.
Can you repeat that? What did you just say?
What does Encore currently use that facility for? Is it storage? Do they do some light manufacturing or
they are transmission and delivery, so they store they keep all our power on, honestly, when
the nice cover. They store equipment there and ship it in and out of the facility.
Right.
Yeah.
It was my understanding that the Encore needs more parking, and so I think that a good bit of that could be parking because they don't have enough right now.
I've never once driven past that Encore building and seen their parking area even remotely close to full. What they want is the rail spur. Yes,
that's correct. They have expressed quite a bit of interest in needing more parking. They are growing as our town and county. They don't just service Forney; they service other areas of the community. And as the town grows, the infrastructure grows with it, and they are in desperate need of expanding and expanding. Yeah.
Nice ad lib there.
Do you actually have someone that is going to move onto that property anytime soon, or is this just you're trying to get this settled because you've been under the impression that it was commercial all this time.
That's correct, yeah. I mean,
You don't necessarily have somebody that's ready to move in and do something there.
that's correct, that's
Okay.
correct, yeah.
Wait, what happened to Encore? Remember? The high-paying jobs, large employer, trying to keep them in town, their interest in the rail spur.
So,
Because
I
I
mean,
like the
it's-
fencing and everything, and the trees and all that you're putting in. It looks really nice.
I'm sure everyone sitting in traffic in downtown will love to stare at the nice fence and trees they put up.
Well, it's been an eyesore for, I mean,
Yes, it has.
it's been in disrepair for a while, so, I mean, we're just trying to, you know, attract businesses and, you know, bring everything up, you know, especially in the downtown area, back up to standards that it should be.
I'm sure Miss Lemons will fall for that, but you're here for profit, period. I mentioned at the beginning of the video I'd be showing you a project that was presented to the city for that piece of property that's vacant right now. This was presented earlier in the year. This is an outdoor restaurant area. They had area for food trucks, outdoor dining, games, a great place for a downtown, especially here in Forney, for families to go and hang out and dine, play games, spend time with their families. And this is a type of project that should go in our downtown. And if this zoning is changed to light industrial and commercial, the ability to have this there goes away. And it's going to go away for potentially forever. Instead, what we'll always see there are industrial buildings and trains stopping and causing traffic and such at that corner. So I just wanted you to understand the difference between what is allowed in the zonings and what we could see there, what we should see there, and what we almost saw there before this land was purchased by the current applicant in this video. Folks, call, email, write your city officials. That includes P&Z and City Council. This is a horrible idea for that corner. It's a horrible idea for our downtown. It's a horrible idea for the residents that surround that area. This needs to be denied, and I think everyone in City Council and Planning and Zoning needs to understand exactly what this means for the city of Forney and our downtown.